Welcome to my Flosstube channel, Bell Stitches Pirates. My name's Naomi, and this is a long overdue Flosstube. I think I promised to have it out around Labor Day, and that was a week ago, almost. Yeah. It's Thursday, September the 8th, and a very sad day in Britain, Canada, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, Northern Ireland particularly, who have lost their queen. But the world as a whole has lost a woman who demonstrated to us how to lead and how to persevere even through the tough times. Queen Elizabeth will be greatly missed by her family and by her people. Since I last filmed, I have done 3 weeks on Lion King, and we survived. The show itself is fun. It's a lot of hard work. It's pretty fast paced. It has a lot of parts and pieces that we don't normally have to deal with, and it's a hard show in terms of the sheer amount of maintenance hours that are required. In addition to the show hours. So the first week we did 60 plus hours, I think. At least a few of us. The first 2 days we accrued 20 hours. I crashed on a coworker's couch because an hour and a half drive home to turn around and have to be back in 9 hours just wasn't going to happen. I'd have gotten like 3 hours of sleep, and I'm like, nope. Is the offer of your couch still open? And it was, so that was very helpful. But overall, it was a rough run. We had some issues with staffing that had never been encountered before. We had some minor injuries, and then the second week we actually had a major injury. And it put everybody a little bit on edge. For me, as the department head, it meant that on top of performing my work and making sure that my crew was happy and productive, every time there was another crisis, whether it was large or small, meant more paperwork and more phone calls to the office to have them replace people or get me a temporary person. Just a lot of juggling, a lot of craziness. And because I still had the day job at the law firm, I was going into the law firm every day that I didn't have to be at the theater early, and then pulling a full day on on Mondays. And so needless to say, once the show started, I didn't stop for about 30 days. I finally had a day off. because I put a full day in on the Monday before the show opened on, or before the show loaded in on Tuesday, and then I did 3 weeks non-stop, closed the show out on a Sunday. Monday went in and did Monday through Friday, so it was the Saturday following the show going on the road, back on the road to the next city, when I finally got a day off, and it was like, I'm sleeping. That's it. I'm just sleeping. I also didn't end up doing much stitching during that 3-week period. I did stitch. I stitched on one piece, but I only stitched on it during the show twice. I stitched on it the first Monday prior to the show, starting the show. The next Monday I was dealing with revising a bunch of stuff and getting paperwork dealt with from my changes over the weekend. And then, so I was on the computer once I got home from work instead of stitching. Then the following Monday, I actually was able to stitch instead of having paperwork to do. So I did some stitching that Monday evening, but during the time of the show, I stitched twice. So then when I got done with the show, I had a couple of evenings where I just kind of chilled, did a little stitching, did a little diamond painting, but didn't really push myself. And then over the last week, I really buckled down and tried to get it finished before the end of August. And I am happy to say that I actually did finish the piece. This is, and my board is just a little skinny because this is a square. This is Alice in Wonderland Sal by Owl Forest Embroidery. It was their Sal from 2020. Sounds about right. I think it started in 2020 and finished in 2021. And we started here without doing the queen, so it's just the arbor. And then did the roses here and started working our way down and around. So I had done all of this, done the house, I'd done the caterpillar, I'd done these guys and the queen and the maid, and I think I'd done the Cheshire Cat. I had started the house when I started working on this in August. So in August, I managed to finish this little section, the house and the little rose. And then once I came back from the show, I went up and I did the Mad Hatter and this teacup and the small teacup and this bush. And then we came into the center and did these flowers, and then we did the whole table. I did the whole table, and then came down to the tree and the flags waving, and finally, and then the cards and the Cheshire Cat again. And the final piece was the queen. So that is Owl Forest Embroidery's Alice in Wonderland Sal. They had two versions. They had a full color version and then they had a 3-color version. And for me, it's really a 4-color version because their colors was an over-dyed variegated red and I used Firebane, which is reds and blacks. Then they had a brownish green, and I used Threadworx pirate ship plank, and then they had a crew. But I felt that the rabbit needed to be white, not a crew, so I used B5200 for the rabbit. So the only spot that is pure white is Mr. Rabbit. Everything else is a crew. And there's a ton in there. Probably the crew and the pirate ship plank is what I ended up using the most of. I had, I think, 4 or 5 skeins of a crew on my thread drop. I had gotten a grab bag of floss and there was a bunch of ecru in it, so I just cut it to length and put it all on the same spot, on the same floss drop. So I had a big old handful of ecru, and I'm down to one or two skeins, maybe 1 and a partial. So I'd say I easily use 3 skeins, probably 4. The skeins of Threadworx, I think, are a little bit, so the DMC is 8 meters. I think the Threadworx might be 20 or 15. I'd have to look it up. There's definitely more to a skein than the DMC. I still used a solid 2. And I started when I only found 2 wrappers, but I think I used a total of 2 and some. So really 3. And so yeah, I've got a whole bunch of extra fabric because this was a fat half, and I didn't cut it down before I stitched. I just came in like 2.5, 3 inches from the corner. Counted down or counted in, found my middle, and started stitching. And then from there, I just kept on stitching. I never like measured it to go, okay, here's where I'm going to chop it off. And I tend to do that. So now I need to cut it off there. And then I've also got, probably about 6 inches on the edge once I leave myself a margin. It's not much, but it's still, if I finish it with like a ribbon trim or something, it would make a nice long skinny piece. You know, it's 32 count, so it's a little smaller than standard. So 4-inch wide stitching is actually pretty decent. It definitely will do ornaments. So that was my cross stitching. I'm going to probably won't upload this until tomorrow. Going to grab my pile of haul because I may not have been stitching, but I was buying. So I've got a handful of things, a small box worth of stuff that has come in that I've collected that I need to show you. But yeah, I didn't get many projects done, and I had a lot of days that had no stitching whatsoever for August. Pretty much 3/4 of the month was a bust for stitching. But what I did accomplish is a finish. So at the end of the day, that's pretty darn good. So I'm going to take a break, wrap it up here for now, and come back tomorrow with my haul, and I'll see you then. Bye. This is the haul section. It's actually Friday the 9th of September, and I do apologize for any of the distracting noise traffic outside. There are a lot of cars. I was hoping it'd be quieter because school is getting out. That means all the parents are circling the block trying to collect their kids. So for haul, I've collected a lot of things. I've had a lot of orders that were prior to my big show in August and just hadn't shipped arrived. So I've got a lot of these, a lot of little kits. So the first one that came in was a little mystery kit called Blue Suede Shoes by Forbidden Fiber Company. And this was a little kit they released in conjunction with the Elvis Presley movie, Elvis. I'd actually seen it when I saw the email about the kit and really enjoyed the movie. I think I enjoyed the movie even more. It was a well done movie, but I enjoyed it even more because I had seen a TV special where they interviewed the family, and Priscilla and Lisa Marie Presley both said that it was a well done representation of Elvis's life. And they did a really nice job of mixing, of interweaving clips of Elvis himself with the reenacted parts. You know, it's Elvis Presley, so everybody hopefully is aware that he has passed away many, many years ago and had a semi-tragic spiral towards death. But just looking at the influences that from his childhood that influenced his music and the way he performed was very interesting. There's also some moments that touch upon the cultural clashes that he was exposed to and or a part of. He was a young man during Martin Luther King's time, and he went through the 60s and kind of the let's throw away the rules mentality that existed for at least a little bit culturally. Not that that's ever gone away. I think people fall into kind of three camps, either the middle of the road, the must follow every rule to a T, you know, everything's black and white, there's no gray deviation, and then the let's push every rule to its extreme and see how much we can get away with. Anybody who's had more than one child knows that each child is its own kettle of worms, which ones are going to listen and follow the guidelines, and which ones are going to test your limits every single day. And which ones are sometimes going to test you and sometimes not. Anyway, so Forbidden Fiber Company did a mystery kit. I got the cross stitch version. She also does yarn, and inside the box she had a little card for 12 Days of the Resistance, a yarn or cross stitch mystery box. I don't know if that's still available. She also had a card for her 2022 Advent Holiday Express, also knitting, crochet, or cross stitch. So if those are things that might interest you, check her out. So, like I said, it's a small kit. Came wrapped in this nice brown paper. Tissue paper. A little project bag. It's a canvas project bag with Elvis on it. There's a little blue, black, and clear crystal pull tab. And then inside we have a zip or a scissor fob that has both a treble and a, I don't remember my music. One's a treble and I think one's just called a G clef. But music symbols. A needle minder that's a picture of Elvis. She always puts a button on the back magnet. It's kind of her thing. So, little set of accessories. Then we have a pattern. One for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go cat go. It's 150 wide by 80 tall, so reasonably small. She has 7 colors, and she does give you both the, so she dyed, these are her own custom dyed flosses, and then she gives how many stitches in each color, as well as the DMC conversion. This one she didn't really have a conversion for, so kind of you're on your own. So that's the pattern. And then let me check. So, and then I got, she included 1/8 of a yard of the recommended fabric called Roustabout. I got the 32 count Belfast linen. And when ordering the kit, she has what linen or what fabric types are available. So you can pick whether you want an Ada and the count, or usually it's 32 and or sometimes she'll have 36. It's a creams and blue mottled fabric. That's very pretty. And then we have the 7 skeins of floss. So we have Vanilla Blossom, we have Midnight Sky, we have Tenacity, which I have used before. This was in the Bridgerton box that I've gotten. This one is Sympathy Butters No Parsnips. Sterling, which is a nice gray. Black Magic. And then of course, blue suede shoes. On this fabric. So this is going to be a really nice little piece. It was a very, especially for a full kit with the pattern and everything, it was very reasonably priced. And like I said, I really enjoy working with her flosses. Her fabrics are really pretty. And the patterns are usually reasonably simple, but also relatively easy to do. The Bridgerton one, honestly, the section that took me the longest amount of time to do was the house. The house was 50% of the piece. On this one, it's going to be the keyboard and Elvis that are going to take the most time, and then once you get past that, it's going to fly past. So that's a really cute little kit with all the requisite bits and bobs that you need to do it. Really, all you need to do is provide a hoop if you're a hoop person, a needle, and scissors. Everything else is in the bag. So that was the first piece that I got in. Then I got in, I think this is July. Yes. July Silks for You, which is a blue series. I got in, because I couldn't resist, one of my other favorite dyers is Dying for Cross Stitch. She was having some old silk packs floss. She did a floss of the month club for a while. I don't know if she's continuing it, but I didn't have the November silk pack, so I picked up the November silk pack. I specifically was getting fabric. So her new fabric of the month, I was like, yes, sign me up. This one's called Montgomery Dark. I got it in 40 count. I only have like 1 or 2 pieces of 40 count, and they're like neutral. So I decided I've done a few little things on 40 count. I really enjoy stitching on it over 2. So I thought I would add a couple pieces to my collection. So this is blues and greens. She had a light colorway, which was much paler, and then she had the dark. So I got a fat half in 40 count, which that'll do quite a few pieces. I could see a mirror on it, but 40 count, you pretty much have to do it without beads, or really modify the beads. So that might be a little difficult. And then the other one I got was also 40 count, fat half. She calls it Tynan, and it's this blues and purples. And the way the piece runs, try to get back. So it gets really blue on one end, really purpley, maybe more, yeah, no, it's purple. So it goes from like sky blue to purple with mixing in the end. So this one piece, you could get all kinds of fun just with where you place it, where you place your project. You could end up with something that's a lot of sky blue, you know, blue background with maybe a hint of purple above their heads or where it's starting to color shift. Or you could go really dark. And when I saw the picture of it, I was like, that's got a lot of possibilities. I could see pieces where you're going, that can't possibly be the same fabric for those two pieces. And it is. It's just which section of the piece did you choose? So I got a fat half of that. And then I got Taylor and Cromwell. I had an order of 6 kits over the course of little more than a year that I signed up for last year. And this is, I can't remember if that's my last one or last one, second to last one. It's the August kit, so it must be the second to last one. And it comes with, this one's a theme of Agatha Christie. So included in the box is a bookmark kit. It's got the bookmark booklet, floss card with all the floss, 24 gauge needle, 3 pieces of Ada, a needle minder, scissor fob, and a pouch. So we have the needle minder is a little book. Come on, focus. This is Agatha Christie, The Mysterious, don't know. Looks like it begins with an M. It might be marquee, but it doesn't look like it's got quite enough letters. Maybe this will help. Anyway, then a little pouch, scissors or pencil case with spooky woods print. Classic Agatha Christie, a little train for the scissor fob. Looks like I got 2 scissor fobs with a train. Come on. And then the pack. So we've got One should never go by what people say. Every murderer is probably somebody's old friend. Time is the best killer, as bookmarks. And quite honestly, I do all of those. So what you get in their little kits is you get the pattern, and it's on a little bit heavier paper than the cover is on cardstock, and then the papers feels slightly heavier, so it might be like 26, 28 weight paper. They do a nice beginner's description of what are the different stitches. They even doing 3/4 and quarters, back stitch, all of that. I mean, they've got a really good diagram right there. A diagram on how to do French knots. And then the charts are nice and clear, as well as being a decent size print. So you're not dealing with teensy tiny squares. Then they give you all the DMC that you need on a card, along with there's your needle. And 3 pieces of bookmark Ada. So really all you have to do is decide if you want the top edge to still be raw, because it's got this nice scallop binding on it. I've gotten out of the 5 that I've gotten so far, I think 2 of them have been bookmark sets, and then others have been slightly larger pieces, larger being like 150 or smaller. So, you know, substantial single pieces without being outrageous. Their kit is in totality, there's usually 1 or 2 little accessories. If you order a single kit at a time, then it's a little bit more, but then they do, if you order 3 kits out of the announced months, you get a little bit off the kit price. If you do 6, then it's a little bit less. You know, it's even more of a slight discount. And then if you want to do every month, it's a little bit more, and you don't end up having to necessarily pay for the kits all at once. So they'll do, like, I think they did 6 payments since 6 months in a row. So I'm paid up for all of my mystery kits with them, but I didn't have to pay for them all in one lump sum, even though I was picking 6. I looked at every single category that they had currently available, and there were some of the themes that I just didn't like. But they do books and musical theater, so both of which are categories that I enjoy. And it's, for me, they had enough themes that I was like, yeah, I like that theme. I like that one. That one I can pass. I had 6 that I was interested in, so the 6-pack was a really nice option instead of having to try to remember, oh, this month I need to go order the mystery kit. Then I'll be right back. I didn't cut this open. Okay. So I was on a de-stash site and I saw this being de-stashed. And I'm not sure what I got myself into, but I bought it. It's a tablecloth, I think, by Eva Rosenstand. Hoping that it's all here. There's a massive piece of fabric along with blue floss by Eva Rosenstand. Says it's made in Denmark. I will insert a picture of what it's supposed to look like. It's a challenge. Price was good, even just for the fact that it's like a massive yardage of fabric. And so yeah, amen. I'll take a gander at it and see if I can figure it out. I may be using Google Translate on some of it. Didn't look like there were very many English instructions, but that was my de-stash piece, and then I promptly put all the de-stash sites on silent because the other thing I did was place an expo order. It hasn't come in yet. I haven't got the invoice yet. The needle workshop that I put my expo order in with invoices when they have everything for your order. I must have gotten one of the international pieces because I haven't gotten my invoice yet. And I'm not quite stalking their website. I need to go look on the website to see what's in and what's not. But yeah, it was. Other people have started getting their expo orders from them, but I have not got my invoice yet. Once I get my invoice, I know it'll be in my hands really fast. I did try to limit myself to an estimated dollar figure. Not necessarily a chart limit, but a dollar figure. And there were a few pieces that were the patterns that I was like, I like those. I really like those, but I'm not sure I'd ever do them, so I'll pass. But there were a couple other ones that I was like, yes, sign me up. No ifs, ands, or buts, sign me up. So my next one might have my expo order in it. That's haul. If you've watched this long, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for your patience with my noisy neighborhood. And I will hopefully be back on a much more regular schedule. I will let you know that I'm going to be doing a couple of lives for Craftathon, I think is what it's called. It's a event that started in a diamond painting group. I guess last year they did a 24-hour diamond painting-a-thon. And this year they've decided that it should be a craftathon. So anything that falls into the category of crafting should be allowed. So right now I have one specific slot, the time slot, that I'm gonna try to pre-schedule on YouTube so that you'll be able to see it. They've been looking for some people to take on some other time slots, and so I said, hey, these two I could do as well. So I'm gonna have definitely one slot and possibly as many as 3. And I probably won't do the same craft for each of them. Right now, I'm probably gonna do diamond painting for the one that I'm currently assigned. If I get some additional ones, if they end up still needing somebody for the 2 other time slots that I could do, I'm probably gonna do a live cross stitch. And then the third one, I may or may not do like a live finishing. We'll see. For that one, I have to make sure my craft table's completely cleared off. And right now, it is not. That is next weekend. It starts on Friday and it goes, I think it starts Friday evening and goes through midday Sunday. Something like that. It's like 48 hours, not 24 this go around. But basically what they did is they've got individual YouTube crafters who have volunteered to host a live for 1 hour. And you can join in with the craft that the crafter is doing, what the YouTube channel is doing, or you could simply visit the live and participate in a manner that you prefer. So, you know, if you're not a diamond painter but you want to join and you're a cross stitcher, join with your cross stitching. The image on the screen will be whatever the YouTube crafter is doing, for their hour. So I'll put the information as I have it, and once the theme of my hours is decided, then I will post that into the scheduled live information. Please let me know how your summer has been. I hope you've stayed cool. We are on the tail end of a massive heat wave, so I hope you have managed to either avoid the heat wave or stay cool, and that the back to school, for those of you who have kids, has gone smoothly and with as little frustration and tears as possible. For my nephew, it's like he forgot how to do note-taking all over again. Sophomore year is off to an interesting start. He's forgotten how to use his accommodations for his reading difficulties. He's forgotten how to take notes. He's forgotten in what order he should be doing his assignments so that he can pass the quizzes. It's like, why did you bomb the quiz? Well, did you do this chapter first? No, I did this chapter because it's what was due today. Well, if you didn't do yesterday's chapter, how can you take the test for today? kids, their logic sometimes baffles us, and other times it amazes us. Have a great week, and I will see you next time.